Shana Tova, everyone. A happy, healthy, meaningful new year. I'm so grateful that you have joined us, Temple Micah, me, Rabbi Adam Morris, also known as Rabbi Mo, and Hal Aqua, one of our musicians in residence, for this Kirtan New Year reflection, observance, and exercise. Kirtan is a musical mode that we have used at Temple Micah since Hal introduced it to us more than 10 years ago. I believe Hindu in origins that Kirtan is it's a call and response with small phrases. And from the first time he introduced it, we just found that it fit. It was prayerful, it was contemplative, it was reflective. How the format is Hal sings something and we listen to that, we experience it. And then if we're comfortable, we respond. It works, I think, because it hits all of us. It can be intellectual, we're thinking about what we're singing. It could be emotional or with our senses that we're experiencing it, just how it sounds or how it feels. It also could tap that mysterious part because we let go of the thinking or feeling part and just be in the moment and let the music envelop us and wrap us. And it just fits these 10 days of Teshuvah. Often we call that 10 days of repentance, but I've often said, and I'm not the first one to say this by any means, that Teshuvah is not best translated as repentance. Repentance is part of that. But the root of Teshuvah is about turning or returning. These 10 days are about returning to our source, to our truths, to our most fundamental and essential values. It's kind of like coming home at the end of a long day. When the world out there is so demanding and challenging, and we come home to that safety, that security, that unconditional acceptance. Okay, on most days, we maybe get that best from our dogs as they welcome us, but you know what I mean. The other metaphor I like to use nowadays is, well, think about our devices that we use to navigate our world. Phones, tablets, computers, they all have fundamental operating systems that help them work the best they can. But by going out there as they do and surfing the net and its world, well, and what they need to do their work for us, it gets a little complicated. It gets a little confused with all those elements out there. Some are malicious and some are just part and parcel of surfing the internet. And what do we do to them? Well, we do a factory reset. We bring them back to their original operating system to give them a purity, a clarity, and efficiency so they can go back out there again and, well, meet the world with full strength and full clarity. That's what Teshuvah is. We are the devices. We go out in the world and live it and do what we must. And sometimes those things that we experience out there are harmful and hurtful, and they injure our systems. Sometimes just the wear and tear of doing what we must do. We have to take the time to reboot, to go back to our factory reset, our fundamental operating system. What is that fundamental operating system of our souls, our spirits? Well, we hope we find it in the confines of our tradition. Truth be told, it's personal and intimate to each of us. But the tools we use, the software, if you will, to reset, is this time, is this tradition, are these words and the wisdom that is attached to it. So I invite you to take this time to engage in your reset, whether it's just these few minutes you're spending with us, with Hal and I right now, or it's the time you're spending these 10 days in various ways to make Teshuvah, to return home. We start with our first prayer, not yet quite Kirtan, but helps us create that feel. Hashivenu, help us return and renew. An important part of this process of teshuvah is acknowledging, maybe even remembering, that of what we are made of. We tend to think that we are, we're mostly this body, this physical that goes out in the world and experiences and engages the world in that way. But there's more to us. We are spirit, we are soul, as things we cannot measure with our senses, but it's there. Even there's this belief that this part of us, this spirit, this soul is encased in us, and I think that's upside down. I think this physical part is just a small part of this larger aspect of us that our tradition names as nefesh, as ruach, as neshama. Part of the process of teshuvah is to acknowledge and remember this part and let it out. Let it tell us what is essential and what is important. The next prayer is all about that. It is acknowledging and naming that this living part of us that is neshama, that is spirit, that is soul, can express itself, can be, and we can let it guide us towards teshuvah. One of the next steps in making teshuvah, beyond acknowledging there's more to us, there's something spirit, soul, something more that maybe we can't fully explain or understand or express, but it's there, is doing that then beyond us. Out there, the bigger, capital M more. Doesn't matter what you think about God or not. Put that aside. Open to the possibility that there is something out there more that we just don't understand, that's mysterious. Perhaps the possibility that the little part of us that we don't understand is connected to, maybe even part of, in sync with, as part of the same system of that larger more, that larger part we don't understand, that larger mystery. That's part of Teshuvah, being realigned with just the possibility in that larger system, in that larger order of the cosmos. Our next kirtan, our next prayer, helps us focus with our intention as we consider the hiddenness of the world and universe around us. One of the stories from our tradition about one of our spiritual ancestors is kind of about this process of teshuvah. Let me explain. Jacob, who was born as the second twin to Esau, you may remember his story. He wanted the birthright. He and mom plotted to outwit older twin brother and dad to steal that birthright. After that, he was successful, but so successful he had to run away because he feared his brother wanted to kill him. As he ran away from the only home he's ever known, was afraid, fearful, alone, he laid down at night to sleep in the wilderness before he got to the place he was running to. And in this isolation, in this vulnerability, he had this dream about the angels ascending and descending a ladder. And he felt the divine presence there with him. He had made his return, even though he left his home. When he woke up that morning, he said, "Oh my God, God was in this place and I didn't know it." He didn't realize, he forgot that even though he left his home base, everything he knew was safe and secure, that God was still there with him. That's the process of teshuvah too. Making this return to our home, realizing that our home is always with us. It's in this place. With that awareness, openness to the nature of spirit and soul we are. With that openness, awareness to that's the nature of the universe too. And then open the possibility that then maybe there's no place we can't go. There's no place that we can't be. That connection is not real. That the holy, the sacred, that the divine is not present. Even in this place right now, we are full, we are abundant with the presence of the holy. This is certainly part of this process of teshuvah, to even glimpse this possibility, this truth, this presence. That God is in this place, even if we didn't know it. Hamakom hazeh, this place, this moment. As we make our way through this process of teshuvah, getting our heads and hearts around the idea that every place, every moment is filled with divinity. What do we do with that? How do we encounter it that's so big and more and hidden and mysterious? Well, that's the nature of the beast, of the animal, of the holy. But our tradition recognizes that. You know, the story goes that at Sinai, when God revealed God's self to the people, yes, we have, hey, it's the Ten Commandments, here's what was said, but it's not so straightforward. Our sages suggest to us that God revealed God's self in as many as 70 different ways. So that all the various ways that people might access what is holy, what is divine, could do that. Could be on the right wavelength, the right frequency, and encounter the divine in that moment. And truth be told, we're not always on the same wavelength. Sometimes there are different frequencies that we experience the holy. The way this shows up in our tradition is that there are myriads of names for what we call God. And trying on those God names, seeing how they fit, reveal to us not just different aspects of that mysterious, what is beyond, but they teach us about ourselves too. So part of teshuvah is, well, knowing which of those names, those aspects, those facets of the holy fit for us, and also pushing ourselves beyond our comfort zones to other ones that may help us reveal and understand and encounter new aspects, not just about the divine, but about us. This next kirtan continues to present some of those names of the holy for us to try on, to feel, to encounter the divine. So then where does this process of teshuvah lead us? Well, these 10 days end with Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. But said another way, it's a day of at-one-ment. Perhaps, possibly, it leads us to that revelation that we are all one. We are part of the unity of all. Imagine how that awareness changes each and every moment, each and every encounter with another person, with the environment, with ourselves, if we remember that we are all part of the Holy One. That's where hopefully, prayerfully, teshuvah takes us as individuals and as community. We wrap up our Kirtan exercise and reflection, putting to Kirtan the ancient words, the original words of ours that remind us of that possibility, that reality, that we are part of the unity of all. Shema.
Shema Yisrael,
Shema Yisrael,
Adonai Eloheinu,
Adonai Eloheinu,
Adonai Echad,
Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael,
Shema Yisrael,
Adonai Eloheinu,
So we end where we began. This appreciation, recognition of this path of teshuvah. Hashivenu Adonai. May we return be renewed. And we bring that sense of renewal, of hope, and of peace to our lives, to our families, to our communities, to the entire world. Shana Tova Umituka. May your new year be good, sweet, and meaningful. And may you find your way